The shotgun, Reese. We love the shotgun. But understandably, Coach Corso picking the Buckeyes at home. We welcome you to ESPN College Football presented by Vizio. An absolutely perfect day here in Chapel Hill on the North Carolina campus as you're watching the ACC on ESPN. The Lamar Jackson Tour continues. The reigning Heisman Trophy winner has Louisville ranked number 17 entering today's game against the Tar Heels. And hi, everybody, with Greg McElroy. I'm Dave Pash. We'll get to Tom Luganville in a bit. Well, Greg, going into the regular season, it seemed like nobody picked Lamar Jackson to win for a second straight time. After all, it's been 40 years since it's happened. But after week one, seems like everybody's jumping back on the bandwagon.
I'm sick and tired of people suggesting that Lamar Jackson's not the best player in college football. He is. Case closed. Now, will he win a second Heisman Trophy? That remains to be seen. But through one game, all the issues that plagued him last year, inconsistencies, throwing it down the field, taking sacks, fumbling the football, it appears as though he's moved on from those mistakes. And Tom, seeing him as a passer, especially on those downfield throws, he looked like a completely different guy against Purdue.
Yeah, if you pay close attention, Greg, to him today, watch his poised, calm feet. Watch him take the easy dump off. Watch him throw the ball away and limit negative plays. That's going to be something that makes him special this year.
And we'll get to see him shortly. Louisville won the toss, elected to receive. Last week, Jackson had 2 touchdowns, both through the air, in their win against Purdue. Bobby Petrino in his 8th year at Louisville, 4th year of his second stint with the Cardinals. Meanwhile, North Carolina coming off a bad loss at home to Cal. Again, they lost their quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky, who went number 2 overall in the NFL draft. Larry Fedora lost more than that on offense. And a bad start for the Tar Heels as they kick it out of bounds, giving Louisville excellent starting field position. So Lamar Jackson, a junior from Pompano Beach, Florida, that is in the Fort Lauderdale area, obviously in the line of Hurricane Irma. So his mother, Felicia Jones, expected to be here today. The last time she was at a game was the Clemson game last year. They lost, and she felt badly because of it. Hasn't been to a game since. And she's hopeful to make it today to get out of the path of the hurricane and get to be with her son here in Chapel Hill. And here is Jackson running it on first down, and he has a first down. A gain of about 14 for Lamar Jackson on the first play. Over 5,000 yards last year. It was a year ago this week he did that, hurling over a Syracuse player and almost putting up 600 yards in that game. He became the youngest Heisman Trophy winner at age 19. And just watching him, Greg, on the field before today's game, he's gotten bigger. His lower body is noticeably bigger. He's gained about 10 pounds. He'll throw here. And that pass overshot, trying to hit the running back, Reggie Bonifant.
And people forget how big Lamar Jackson is. Now, he's not the thickest guy in the world, but he's every bit of 6'3". And with those additional pounds, he's going to be able to handle the load a little bit more on the ground game between the tackles. Bulkier, stronger, more physically mature, but still the dynamic athlete that we saw a year ago.
Play fake for Lamar on the rollout and dumping it off to the 46-yard line. Jordan Davis, a huge hit by Andre Smith, the middle linebacker, made some comments about Lamar Jackson this week. I thought they were rather innocuous, but of course social media ran with it, where he said, we're not going to let Lamar Jackson do anything against us. We're going to be out to stop him. Well, no doubt.
Absolutely.
What's he supposed to say when he's asked about Lamar Jackson?
If I was on UNC's defense, I would make Lamar Jackson and stopping him a point of emphasis too, but talking about it and doing it is a whole other thing for this UNC defense.
Jackson on 3rd and 4, and oh boy, Bonifant wide open out of the backfield, past the 30 and out of bounds.
So well done by Lamar Jackson. Getting through his progressions a year ago was not something that he excelled at. Right here, doesn't like anything downfield. Let's find the running back on the late leak out on 3rd down. Uncovered and allows for the big play opportunity. Learning his progressions and getting through them faster, more poised. was a point of emphasis, and so far he's off to a good start today.
Got 21 yards there to the UNC 24-yard line. And on first down, they run off the right side. Malik Williams dropped again by Andre Smith. Williams going to get more carries with Jeremy Smith out because of a foot injury. They also have Colin Wilson, a freshman, prepared to get some reps at running back in this game.
Tell you, Greg, with North Carolina on defense, a lot of 7- and 8-man box designed to stop the run. That's going to create a lot of one-on-one opportunities in the passing game. So far, Lamar Jackson taking advantage.
Jackson bottled up at the 20-yard line. A gain of 2, stopped by Tremont Fox. Here's third down.
And early in the game, Tom, like you alluded to, heavy boxes when it comes to personnel, but also the safeties for North Carolina, keeping a very keen eye as to what's going on in the backfield. Right there, Miles Dorn, the sophomore, making a play up near the line of scrimmage. They're going to have to be careful with them triggering so quick on the run game to not allow those deep shots down the field in the passing game.
Jackson to the air on third down and 6, and gets out of there. Jackson fighting for the first down. It'll be close. He was met by Patrice Rene at the 15-yard line. See Andre Smith doing some talking there. It is fourth down. He was short.
About a full yard, guys, just standing here right down the line. And again, you see the good decision by Lamar Jackson, understanding you're in the red zone. Know your area of the field. Don't take negative plays. Those are the types of growth patterns that he's made from last fall to the beginning in week 2 here of 2017.
And if I'm Bobby Petrino here on 4th and short, I want to try to get Lamar Jackson on the perimeter with the run-pass option.
Some movement, and if that's a false start, that's going to make Bobby Petrino lose it, because
5-yard penalty.
they had 10 false starts last week. 10 in one game. And it's the center, Robbie Bell, who was the guilty man last week. And that's who Petrino is wearing out right now.
I've never seen anything quite like this. Now, I understand Robbie Bell is a freshman, only making his 2nd start. But 11 false starts in just over 64 minutes of game time can't happen.
They get 3, though, as Blanton Creaky puts it through. Another mistake by Robbie Bell. Louisville, though, leads 3-zip. Well, you saw at the end of game day, Coach Corso picking Ohio State. The Buckeyes are home playing Oklahoma. Ohio State won in Norman last year. Tonight's game on ABC at 7:30, 4:30 Pacific. You like the Buckeyes in that one?
I do. I just think the talent advantage along the front for the Buckeyes, that defensive line is so deep, so talented. I just think even though Oklahoma's offensive line is a strength of that football team, they're going to get overwhelmed by the time the game hits zeros in the 4th quarter.
Can the Sooners stop Dobbins, too? That freshman running back for Ohio State. Here's Ratliff Williams, a big return for the Tar Heels up near the 40-yard line. Well, last week it was LSU transfer Brandon Harris that started at quarterback. Today it's Chaz Surratt making his first collegiate start, a redshirt freshman from Denver, North Carolina, about 2.5 hours southwest of here. His brother Sage is a freshman at Wake Forest and is a wide receiver. Surratt entered the Cal game last week on the 3rd drive. He threw for a touchdown and ran for a touchdown. He's a southpaw. And a little pitch on the end around a true freshman, Daz Newsome, and there he goes. Newsome has great speed, turning around the defender at the 10-yard line. Finally, they catch him inside the 10. 56-yard run.
That's a great start on the stat sheet for Chaz Surratt. A nice little shovel pass right underneath on the jet sweep and out the gate.
Now they run it here to Michael Carter, or excuse me, Jordan Brown. But let's go back to that last play, Newsome. They told us yesterday in our meeting they wanted to get him involved in the run game. They called him one of the most explosive players on their team. I liked that on the first play. coming out with that?
He showed it. And get your quarterback off to a nice confident start. Nice 1-for-1. Now, on the stat sheet, that'll go down as a huge gain, but it's probably the easiest pass that Chaz Surratt will have in his career. Well executed by the Carolina offense.
Tried officially a pass, but technically it was a run play, right?
Absolutely. A lot of yards after catch.
2nd and goal, little option football. The pitch, and diving for the goal line is Brown, but he did not get in. They're going to spot him inside the 1. James Hearns shoved him out.
See where he went out. It looks as though he's obviously short of the goal line. Still, though, right here, 3rd down inside the 1. If I'm Chris Kapilovic, the offensive coordinator, I'm thinking I have 2 downs to get in the end zone. I'm not settling for a field goal when I'm this close. Run it twice. See what your big backs can do for you.
I'm with you, especially after you held Louisville on defense. You got a little momentum. Crowd's starting to get into it here. See if you can pound it.
I think you employ the quarterback run here, try to get an extra man advantage.
Surratt rolling out, wide open in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Brandon Fritz, the tight end. Not a bad start for Chaz Surratt. 2 of 2 passing, 55 yards, and a touchdown. Started out with that touch pass to Daz Newsome on the end around. Now, Purdue hung around last week against this Louisville team because of the penalties. Like we saw in the opening drive here that stalled Louisville's drive. They were going to go for it on 4th and 1 and didn't after a false start. The point after by Freeman Jones makes it 7-3 Carolina.
Chaz Surratt from Denver, North Carolina, playing for the state school, getting off to a great start with the touchdown in the back of the end zone.
ESPN College Football is presented by Vizio, maker of award-winning 4K displays, and in part by the strikingly designed Lexus NX Turbo and Hybrid. Some things are simply impossible to ignore.
At halftime, Roy Williams and the national champion men's basketball team will be honored. They won their 7th title back in April. You got Raymond Felton, Danny Green, guys who were on previous championship teams in the house. Eric Montross here as well.
I don't often get some goosebumps, and I don't often get starstruck on the sideline before the game. Seeing some of those former Carolina basketball players, it's easy to get carried away. Oh, remember him? Oh, he was great. Carolina's had some special teams when it came to basketball over the last few years.
Let's go to the studio, check in with Adnan. And just to finish on what Greg was talking about with some of the luminaries that are here today from the men's basketball team. Michael Jordan was supposed to be the honorary captain but could not make it. Travel issues because of the hurricane. So MJ is not here. His brand, Jumpman, adopted by this North Carolina football team. On their practice helmets, they have that logo. Here's a pitch to Williams running left, and he gets leveled by Andre Smith. Close to a 1st down. Well, Louisville last year got off to that great start, 9-1, but then lost the final 3 games of the season. And in those contests, Lamar Jackson was sacked 22 times. He turned it over 4 times in those games. It wasn't just his fault. The defense really struggled. And then last week against Purdue, even though Purdue has improved, they only won that game by 7 points, had to come from behind to win.
And people have been critical of Lamar for those performances, but he still is as dynamic as ever.
He'll keep it here and get the 1st down, spun forward at the 40-yard line by DeJuan Drennan.
It's easy to be a prisoner of the moment, thinking about what Louisville was at the end of the season. The game against LSU was very disappointing. And then they had some of the same issues last week, fumbling, false starts, penalties, errors on offense and defense. But this team, they're very dialed in, and they're going to go as Lamar Jackson goes.
Off play action. Jackson looking deep, letting it fly, and it's incomplete. The flag. They're going to get KJ Sales, who is covering Jalen Smith. down the field.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 5. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Bobby Petrino taking advantage of those aggressive safeties for North Carolina, trying to get isolation one-on-one on a post route down the field. Took a little while to develop. Thought Lamar was a little late to it, but got away with it as a result of the pass interference. Good call by the official.
So that'll move the ball into North Carolina territory at the 45-yard line. Play action and a rollout again for Jackson. That pass on the money near the 40-yard line. Travion Samuel and MJ Stewart in coverage. Gain of 6 on first down.
Note, Greg, we've seen a lot of misdirection from Louisville so far. Sometimes Lamar Jackson's been under center with some of the naked bootleg. That time out of the shotgun with some motion into the backfield, hoping to get this 7-8 man box in North Carolina to overflow to what they think the action is coming, put them in a conflict of assignment. And Lamar Jackson's so good because he's a run-pass threat once that perimeter happens.
Jackson keeping, nowhere to go. DeJuan Drennan making the play again, so another third down here for Louisville. Just a 1-yard gain for Jackson.
And to back up Tom's point, you know this UNC's defense was challenged after last week's performance against Cal. They got yelled at and told all week, you're supposed to be the experienced group, and they were challenged by their coaching staff and their coordinator, John Capuchis. Now have Louisville in another third down, but if I'm Bobby Petrino offensively, I'm thinking it might be 4-down territory on this side of the 40-yard line.
Although, do you trust your center not to false start? Rolling left, Jackson, and that pass off target. Will they throw a flag for interference here? No. Samuel, the intended receiver, and it was a safety, Miles Dorn.
Really good coverage on the play by North Carolina, particularly Miles Dorn. Very, very highly sought after prospect a couple of years ago. Excellent coverage in the back end, setting up a fourth down for Lamar.
Capuchis replacing Gene Chizik as the defensive coordinator. How do you handle this here with Lamar Jackson as your quarterback? You got so many different options.
You had this play a little earlier. On third down, I might try to find Reggie Bonifant in the passing game.
Instead, it's a quarterback draw. Jackson with the first down and tripped up at the 26-yard line by Donnie Miles. Otherwise, Jackson's still running.
Great execution and a good play call by Bobby Petrino. Shows pass, gets full flow out to the left, which allows Lamar Jackson a lot of room to run straight up the middle. It's a good tackle, by the way, by Donnie Miles, or else there was a lot of room. You see Lamar Jackson holding his head in agony, knowing if I make that guy miss, I might find Bader.
Give the center Robbie Bell some credit on that play. Made a nice block. Here's Bonifant. Picked up and dropped at the 30-yard line for a 3-yard loss by MJ Stewart, the leader of that Carolina defense.
MJ Stewart is such a good corner and nickel. Talking to Gene Chizik, his defensive coordinator from last year, he said this guy has a chance to play 10 years in the NFL. Maybe a little bit overshadowed nationally, but he's a competitor, he's a grinder, he's a leader on this football team, and he's very physical at corner, which is not something you always see.
Jackson in the pocket, throws a strike inside the 15-yard line to Jalen Smith. Smith had over 100 receiving yards last week against Purdue. And again, Lamar Jackson from the pocket looks much more comfortable this year. Bobby Petrino said he's really matured, knows the offense so much more than he did. And this is not an easy offense to grasp as Jackson runs here. Spun down at the 13-yard line by Andre Smith, picked up, or inside the 10 down to the 7 rather, picked up about 5.
Yeah, and he really has done a good job working on his footwork in the passing game. All your accuracy as a quarterback comes from your feet. And if you watch him last week and early on so far in this game today, his feet are underneath him. He's patient with the football and he's delivering it confidently. That's what you want to see if you're a Lamar Jackson fan.
Jackson gonna lose yardage here. Miles Dorn there first. Malik Carney in there as well for North Carolina.
Tell you what, early on, Miles Dorn has made a bunch of plays coming from the secondary. There he is there in the back. He just triggers. He sees Lamar keep that football, and he runs straight to the spot. That's 3 plays already that he's made that have been huge plays for this Carolina defense. 2 in the run game and 1 in the pass game, setting up 3rd and long inside the red zone.
Lamar to the air, end zone, wide open, touchdown. Des Fitzpatrick, a freshman from Michigan, uncovered, and Louisville is back on top.
Lamar Jackson keeping his eyes downfield. This is just a bust in coverage. You can see Andre Smith, number 10, moves slightly to his left, which allows the window to the right-hand side for Jackson to hit Fitzpatrick for the touchdown pass. Nice execution, but a bust on the defensive side allowed the easy pitch again.
Well, last year, 30 touchdown passes for the Heisman Trophy winner. This is his 3rd touchdown pass of the season, and it gives Louisville a 10-7 lead here on the road. Well, a lot of people weren't sure how good Michigan's defense would be after losing 10 guys. I think we got that answer last week against Florida.
I'll tell you what, man, that performance defensively, that's one that you want to clip off and save and send it in for an Academy Award. What a job they've done defensively up there in Ann Arbor.
Ratliff Williams' last return was good. He made it to the 40. This time he doesn't get to the 20. Chaz Surratt, the Gatorade Player of the Year in North Carolina in 2015. He's from Denver, about 2.5 hours from here. He originally committed to Duke and then decided to change his mind and go to North Carolina. That doesn't sit well in Durham, about 15 minutes from here when you do that. Surratt family is here in attendance today.
Really like this kid, Chaz Surratt. Last year, as the scout team quarterback, Coach Larry Fedora had to say, look, Chaz, stop trying to run over our guys. He is hyper competitive and will be a good one here in Chapel Hill for many years to come.
A chess champ growing up has to make all the right moves today to beat Lamar Jackson. Speaking of moves, look at Austin Kroll. Could have easily been tackled for a loss, but ends up picking up 14 yards on that play.
Great job by Kroll, making a sudden jump cut and then going north and south. Bad tackling by Louisville defensively, but a good job by Kroll, making something out of nothing for his quarterback.
Surratt rifles that one complete to Jordan Cunningham. So a gain of 5. You think about what Surratt is charged with. You're replacing a guy who was the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. And like Surratt, nobody really knew who Mitch Trubisky was at this time last year. Trubisky wasn't a starter until this time a year ago, and then ends up being a top 5 pick. Surratt will keep here, and great balance to keep his feet and actually get positive yardage. May have surprised some people, but not the North Carolina coaches, and we talked to him yesterday about Trubisky getting picked number 2. I got a chance to see him in preseason. He looked pretty good.
I'll tell you what, he gets the ball out of his hands. He's quick, he's athletic, and he's big, well put together, but he's a real pro with the way he prepares. Can't wait to see what that Bears team's going to look like with Mitch Trubisky running the show. Maybe not starting the season, but I bet you by year's end, it'll be his party.
Surratt's pass off the mark, try to hit Kroll on 3rd and 8, so North Carolina will have to punt. Remember, they lost Ryan Switzer, an excellent receiver, TJ Logan, Elijah Hood, their running backs. That wasn't on the receiver, though. That pass was just off the mark, 4th down.
It's the first one he's really had where his feet weren't set. The ball got away from him. I've been very impressed with Surratt to this point. They've clearly made the right decision at quarterback based off of last week's performances between the two.
Well, it's rare when you have a collegiate player that's as old as a broadcaster calling this game, but that's the case with the punter, Tom Sheldon, and my analyst here, Greg McElroy. Sheldon, 28 years old, Australian punter. Let's see what the penalty is here. Louisville offside. Going to turn 29 on October 19th. I don't want to reveal too much of your personal information, Greg, but I know that that's close to you in age.
I'm going to get his number. We'll have to hang out after the game at some point.
Defender move first, causing the offensive player. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
You guys can get together, do what millennials do together.
That's right.
Game.
Yeah.
Emoji.
Yeah. Do emojis, Snapchat. All kinds of fun stuff, us millennials.
Still elect to punt on 4th down and 2. And this is a good kick away from Reggie Bonifant. And down at the 10-yard line. 52-yard boot by Tom Sheldon. Taco Bell is a proud partner of the college football playoff. Be on the lookout for Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans like these at games all season long. How long do you think it takes to get that body paint off once you get it on?
That's a question for Tom Luganville. He has done the body paint on numerous occasions. Accurate or not, Tom?
Accurate that I have, and also very difficult to remove. But, you know, the key, of course, is safety first. That better be UV protected.
In my case, it absolutely has to be. I'm a little on the fair side.
You and me both, pal. First down on the 13. And Lamar Jackson in trouble. Gets rid of the pass and completes it. Out near the 30-yard line is Mickey Crum for a big play. Let's check in with Adnan.
Dave?
Wow. Here a great play by Lamar Jackson, getting dragged down for a sack, rolling left, still finds Mickey Crum for 23 yards. Jackson with a long throw, and the catch is made by Jalen Smith. He paid for it. Big hit by Sales. But there you see the arm talent of Lamar Jackson throwing it from that far hash to the near sideline.
And not a lot of guys in college football are making that throw. Now, it wasn't the most accurate from that distance, but just attempting it proves that he has a lot of confidence in his arm right now and has a real good understanding of what North Carolina's doing defensively and where his guys are going to be on the field at the wide receiver spots.
Run play on 2nd and 1, and going down for a loss. Jalen Dalton making the hit on Reggie Bonifant. A setback of 3 yards.
Great job by Dalton, just working across the center and just beating him right to the spot. I mean, there's just nothing you can do. He came to the right side, circled the wrong guy. That's a great job by him, though. Big physical defensive tackle is Jalen Dalton. Hasn't always reached his potential, but when he turns it on, he's a really solid ACC defensive lineman.
Third and 4 for Lamar Jackson in the pocket, and wide open for a first down is Smith. Into North Carolina territory all the way to the 40-yard line. What's happening here, Greg? We've seen this several times on 3rd down, a player leaking underneath over the middle, 23 yards.
Just getting meshes and rubs is what you call them offensively. Defensively, you call them picks. It's just a good, well-designed play by Bobby Petrino, and well executed, and a good job too by Lamar Jackson finding that uncovered guy. Sometimes it takes a second to process the collisions that happen over the ball, but he found it quickly and got it accurately to the intended wide receiver.
Lamar Jackson's thrown for 111 yards and run for 42 yards, and we've only played 1 quarter, but his team is only up 3 here in Chapel Hill over North Carolina. 10-7 Cardinals. Stream every ESPN and ABC college football game live at home or on the go. You'll get access to stories, news, highlights all season. Download the ESPN app to start streaming now. Great games across the ESPN networks. Of course, the big one tonight, top 5 matchup in Columbus, ABC, Ohio State and Oklahoma. On first down, Jackson had a little trouble with the snap there, and he gets walloped at the 35-yard line. Aaron Crawford met him after a 3-yard gain.
I tell you, Greg, North Carolina has a lot of confidence right now in their secondary to keep as many people in the box to defend the run and defend, more importantly, the quarterback run. Got a lot of one-on-ones here out on the perimeter. They're feeling really good about their chances, and so far they haven't had to pay for it.
Yeah, these safeties are triggering very quick, Tom.
Here's Bonifant on 2nd and 7, and he gets driven to the turf at the 30-yard line by Cole Holcomb. Bonifant, a former quarterback. In fact, 2 years ago, he was the quarterback. Lamar Jackson, they weren't sure whether to redshirt him or not. They actually brought Lamar Jackson to throw the first pass of that season. It was an interception. They moved Bonifant last year to receiver, and now he's playing running back.
He can do it all, too. He's good catching it out of the backfield. He's improved when it comes to protection. Very unselfish teammate, and has been very valuable to this Louisville team so far this year.
Another wide open receiver. It is Jalen Smith for a first down to the 15-yard line. So that's a gain of 16 on 3rd down.
Just a nice, easy pitch and catch. You have the motion of the running back out to the right-hand side, which gives you one-on-one with Jalen Smith on the linebacker working on the stick route to the left. That's just picking a matchup and exploiting it. Good execution and design by Bobby Petrino in this Cardinal offense.
Jackson with terrific 3rd down numbers so far. Here comes a reverse. Lamar Jackson out there blocking for Travion Samuel. Samuel knocked out of bounds inside the 5, and here comes a flag. They might get Jackson, who is blocking Cole Holcomb on the play. I think Jackson thought he hit him. He was in front of the defender.
Illegal block in the back. First down.
Yeah, he thought he was in front of the defender, and it looked like a good block by Lamar Jackson.
That looked clean to me. It's not often you're going to see an illegal block in the back on the quarterback. Nice little end around reverse with nothing but green grass out in front. It's a great job by Cole Holcomb recovering on the play. He was about the only Carolina defender that sniffed it out as early as he did, and he avoided the touchdown.
Bonifant on 1st and goal, keeps the feet moving to the goal line, but just short.
This area of the field was a real problem for this Louisville offense last week. Had 2 fumbles at the Purdue 1-yard line. Let's take another look at it. It looks like he's short.
Bonifant again. He'll lose yardage this time. Boy, you see Robbie Bell get driven back again the center. Been a rough day for him again. Donnie Miles, the safety, was in the backfield. So it's a loss of a yard. It'll be 3rd and goal from the 2. Bell looks a little shaken up as well.
Critical down right here. Had a false start on 4th and short earlier. Got to be real smart if you're Robbie Bell to focus on the snap count. Make sure you hear Lamar Jackson. And if I'm Bobby Petrino, I'm thinking I got to get Lamar Jackson on the edge of the run pass.
Jackson rolling out, pumps, hit, gets rid of the pass, and it's almost intercepted. Tamon Fox had pressure on Lamar Jackson. That's a mistake by Jackson. They're just throwing it up for grabs. You might cost your team 3 points.
Very fortunate for Lamar Jackson. They do opt to go with the bootleg into the boundary. A great job by Tamon Fox making the play. Look, it was a point of emphasis all off season for Lamar Jackson not to take sacks, to throw the ball away. He took huge steps forward last week in that department. But right there, when you've already secured a potential field goal, you can't throw it up for grabs. Very fortunate.
19 yards, puts it through, and it's 13-7 Louisville. Coach Petrino not happy, to say the least. Ball State is proud to be part of the team that comes together to do good by contributing to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, All-State has contributed millions in scholarship funds. With Greg McElroy, Tom Luganbill, I'm Dave Pasch here in Chapel Hill. Louisville leading North Carolina 13-7. Another failed red zone trip nearly ended in a turnover, with Lamar Jackson just throwing it up for grabs on 3rd down while he was being sacked. It hit the turf though, and the Cardinals got 3. This will be a touchback. UNC will start on the 25. Here's Adnan. Luke Fickell, the head coach at Cincinnati. You know what he thinks of Michigan, being a former Buckeye player and coach.
It's a pretty passionate rivalry, is it not? Ohio State and Michigan.
He was the interim head coach.
Yeah.
when Michigan ended that long losing streak against Ohio State back in 2011. Surratt to the air on first down. Deep ball, receiver wide open. It's caught by Thomas Jackson inside the 40-yard line. They take a shot on first down, and they get 36 yards.
Yeah, just vertical passing game. And T.J. Thomas Jackson, number 48, runs right by the defender, wide open.
Surratt to the air again, and a pass on target, pulled in by Ratliff Williams. Inside the 30, picks up 9.
Confidence is soaring right now, guys, for Chaz Surratt. I mean, he is feeling it right now. You can see it in his body language. Up-tempo, Louisville's having to get lined up quickly.
Only one incompletion thrown by Surratt. This will be a run play. Nowhere to go, though, for Michael Carter. Dropped by James Hearns. So he did not get the first down. Pushing and shoving on the near side of the field, and 2 penalty flags fly. Louisville is playing without its best defensive player today, Jair Alexander, outstanding corner because of a knee injury. And they took a shot at one of those corners on that first down play.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against the offense, number 7. Unsportsmanlike conduct against number 30, the defense. Those penalties offset. This will be their first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of the game.
Boy, they got Austin Prohl. But, man, I think that should have just been on Kane Pass. Unless there was something prior to that that instigated it that we didn't have. It looked like that was all Kane Pass.
And Kane Pass is probably frustrated and irritated after giving up that long pass a second ago to Thomas Jackson. Can't take your frustration out on the opposing team. That should have been on Kane Pass. I agree with you. But they always tend to get the guy that reacts. And when you have a headbutt right there at the end of the play, naturally they'll probably call both sides and not let it affect the fabric of the game.
3rd and 2. Jordan Brown. Well defended by that front for Louisville. Drew Bailey, defensive tackle at 300 pounds in there, along with true freshman Dorian Etheridge. North Carolina's keeping the offense on the field for 4th down and 1.
Great tackle right there by the Louisville defense.
A little surprised by this, guys. Points are going to be at a premium here. This is a long 4th down.
Yeah, new kicker, though. Remember, Nick Weiler,
Sure,
the kicker last year. It's well within his range, but North Carolina opting to leave the offense on here.
And it's a pass, and they got a first down with Carl Tucker. Great play call. They moved the chains to the 21-yard line.
Outstanding play call. A little spider 3 right here, if you will. Fake the little power to the left-hand side, slip the fullback out into the flats. Pitch and catch stealing, especially for a lefty going to his left.
Did you get the banana in there too, or just the spider 3?
Just spider 3.
Surratt over the middle, it's caught inside the 10. Brandon Fritz. You wonder if the absence of Alexander in the secondary is having an impact right now. I know there was a tight end that caught that ball, but they're getting big plays through the air. 16 yards there, and it's 1st and goal at the 5. Surratt rolling out, dumps it off, touchdown! Fritz again.
Great execution by this North Carolina offense. A little bootleg, very simple, easy progression for Chaz Surratt, and he is dealing in his first collegiate start. What a great first half it's been for the redshirt freshman from Denver, North Carolina.
Remember, he didn't start last week. Brandon Harris, the grad transfer from LSU, did, but it looks like Carolina may have its quarterback. Redshirt freshman Chaz Surratt, 5 of 5 on that drive. Carolina leads.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors, a century of innovation, and Courtyard Fairfield, 4 Points, and Spring Hill Suites. We live by the golden rule.
Well, we shouldn't be surprised based on North Carolina's last 2 ACC openers. They had that incredible game last year against Pitt. Last second touchdown pass by Mitchell Trubisky. 2 years ago, the biggest comeback ever for North Carolina. They were down 21-0 to Georgia Tech, came back to win. And after getting beat at home by Cal last week, a lot of people thought that this would not be a close game. Not only is it close, but Carolina's in front. It'll come out to the 25. Let's go to Adnan. Greg McElroy, a Rhodes Scholar, one of the smartest guys in the SEC, but I don't think, even though you did visit North Carolina.
I did.
Correct? It came down to Carolina, Alabama. Is that
was
right?
it. Carolina was my #2 school. Really had a great time here. Went to Alabama because I thought they had more coaching security. Mike Shula at Alabama got let go just a few months later. So goes to show you, you never pick a school for the coach.
Although it worked out pretty well with the guy they hired last I checked. Lamar Jackson slings it deep. Oh my goodness, what a pass! Touchdown, Jalen Smith. He made that look easy, throwing that 75-yard bullet.
If Lamar Jackson consistently makes throws like this, he is unstoppable. North Carolina has the perfect call on. Corner cat coming off the right-hand side. Lamar Jackson negotiates the rush, steps up, keeps his eyes downfield, and throws a perfect ball to Jalen Smith on the post route. That is so advanced, and he is showing that maturity that he's worked on all offseason in the passing game.
So Lamar Jackson's already thrown for 200 yards and 2 scores.
He was always special, but he might have taken his game to the next level, folks. Lamar Jackson airing it out. The big post and the big touchdown. Louisville retakes the lead here in Chapel Hill.
Take a look at this blimp-worthy play brought to you by Goodyear.
Watch the free safety for North Carolina. He falls asleep and doesn't cover the big post by Jalen Smith. There's a corner cat off the right-hand side. Lamar Jackson sees it. Miles Dorn, the free safety, #1 for the Tar Heels, thinks that it's going to be a sack, thinks that it's going to be a quarterback run. He allows the post to go over the top, and it's an easy pitch and catch for Lamar Jackson.
Chaz Surratt tries to run and actually loses a yard. And another flag after the whistle. More extracurricular activity. Jock Hooper, the back judge here, see him pull up there, hurt his hamstring on the play. He's doubtful to return, so they're down an official, and actually the normal line judge isn't here, Richard Meisner, because of the hurricane. So Steve Mataranti, who's talking right there with the referee, Jeff Heiser, was talking to Steve down on the field before the game. He got the call last minute to fill in. He was supposed to be calling the Virginia Tech game today.
There are multiple fouls on the play. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct against number 51. Unsportsmanlike conduct against number 40 of the defense. Unsportsmanlike conduct against number 54 of the offense. Those penalties offset. Second down.
And Ken Dillard, who committed one of those fouls, is now injured. The starting center for North Carolina. Transfer from Florida.
I hate to see him down. This offensive line for UNC. And kind of moving some pieces around, moving guys in and out. Moving William Sweet to left. Bentley Spain, the left tackle, is out. Now you have a new center in. You have a new right tackle going against a Louisville defense that came into this game #1 in the ACC in sacks. So it's going to be difficult for the young redshirt freshman to negotiate some of those protections without that veteran presence, the fifth-year senior Cam Dillard there at center.
So it's J.J. McCargo for now. 2nd down and 11 for North Carolina. Trailing by 6. Surratt to the air. And his pass high, but beautifully done by Prohl to make the catch. Look a lot like his dad there. Ricky Prohl, longtime NFL receiver, was a terrific player in the pros, had great hands.
That's a great catch. That's one on film on Sunday. You say, man, what do you want for lunch today? Thanks for bailing me out on that inside comeback throw.
By the way, Dillard is back in the game. Here's Thomas Jackson on that touch pass on the end around. And Jackson stood up and dropped out of bounds. Will they throw the flag there on Zykesis Cannon? I thought Cannon did a good job holding up. Could have been much worse. And I thought that was the right decision not to throw a flag. Do you agree with that, Greg?
I agree. I think he was trying to finish the tackle, wasn't aware of where the boundary was. Just a little off balance. I'm okay with that. Let the guys play.
Cam Dillard back out there at center for North Carolina. Surratt in the pocket, moving around. Everybody covered. Surratt stumbles. Ball comes out. And it's recovered by North Carolina back at the 22-yard line. That's a loss of 25. Michael Carter able to jump on it.
Surratt just showing his inexperience, trying to make a play. And in high school, he could very easily get out of things like this. But sometimes you have to understand at this level, the defense wins. It happens. These guys on defense are on scholarship too. Cut your losses. Work on throwing it away and not trying to make the home run play every single time. He'll learn from that, though, and progress throughout his career.
John Grenard poked it out. Another flag. Louisville jumped into the neutral zone.
Offsides. Defense number 94. Cause the offense to move. 5-yard penalty.
You know, Dave and Greg, one of the things that's happened to North Carolina on this drive is they've lost their advantage of tempo. They had Louisville on their heels on that last drive because they were running hurry up. Louisville wasn't getting the play call in time on defense, so they weren't aligned. That's been a problem for this series for North Carolina.
And it's 3rd and 29. They get a little help with the offside, but still they got to get to the 43-yard line of Louisville to get the first down. And they're just going to hand it off here to Jordan Brown. Brought down at the 33-yard line. So North Carolina forced to punt. That's a big one tonight in Columbus. Baker Mayfield in Oklahoma. J.T. Barrett and Ohio State. 7:30 Eastern kick time from the shoe. Ohio State and Oklahoma. Buckeyes struggled for a half against Indiana. Ended up winning handily.
Tell you what, that's going to be a heck of a game. I think roster-wise, top to bottom, Ohio State's better, but you could make a very clear argument that Baker Mayfield's the best player in the game.
Sheldon's kick will be downed at the 1. It's the ball, not the feet in that situation. And Ratliff Williams got to the ball before it crossed the plane. A 66-yard punt. No return. The Aussie Tom Sheldon. Australians normally win the Ray Guy Award lately. This guy's a candidate this year. Ratliff Williams downs it at the 1. Ruling on the field is confirmed, and so the Cardinals have to start inside the 1 after that incredible 66-yard punt. Lamar Jackson throwing from the back of his end zone. It's pulled in for a first down at the 16-yard line. Catch made by Stanberry. Sheldon with that great punt. Good job by Ratliff Williams to get it before it crosses the plane. Australian punters, the last 4 Ray Guy Award winners. Tom Hackett won it 3 different times. Sheldon last year, opponents returned just 9 of his punts for a total of 2 yards. And another catch and another Louisville first down. Seth Dawkins on the grab. Sheldon, a rugby player, shockingly.
Yeah, he can boom it now. It's that grown man strength, 28 years old.
You know pads in that sport, boys.
No.
He's not the oldest player in college football, though. Derek Mitchell is. He's 30, and guess what position he plays?
I'm going to guess punter.
That would be correct. Western Michigan. Louisville rather keeps it on the ground here. Malik Williams fighting and gets the first down. Let's go to Adnan. Wow, Ole Miss. Here it's a 6-point lead for Louisville. They get out of trouble, and here's some running room for Malik Williams out of the backfield. First down into North Carolina territory. Again, this drive started inside the 1 for the Cardinals.
Greg, I think that's the hardest throw in football right there. Everything in your body and your eyes is heading one direction, and now you got to move and throw to a moving target that's in complete opposition to everything that your body's aligned to. That I don't think he gets to that throw a year ago.
And Tom, also throwing it to your left to a receiver or a running back that's not a real natural pass catcher. So you have to be perfect with it and put it right on the money, which is what Lamar did there for the big play.
4 plays, 4 first downs. Here Jackson gets bumped into by the running back. Still completes it to Jalen Smith. And it's a gain of 7 on the play to the 42.
Hey guys, just a quick update down here for Louisville. Their center, Robbie Bell, 75. We touched on him, the redshirt freshman, entered into today with his 2nd start. He's had his knee examined with a brace. They taped up his right ankle. His status is unknown at this point. Nate Sheeler now has taken the reins. Haven't had any issues with false starts. No issues with shotgun or under center snaps for the sophomore who came into this game with less than 10 snaps under his belt.
Jackson dumping it off on 2nd down to Williams, and he gets the first down. Tackled by Andre Smith, but it's another first down. The Cardinals making it look easy on this drive.
That could have very easily been a big play, though. Andre Smith was the only defender in the area, and he made a great open field tackle. Used leverage in the boundary against the ball carrier. Wrapped up. Well done by the junior, who came in talking an awful lot about how they're going to contain Jackson. Through the first 27 minutes, they haven't done as good a job as they would have liked.
He's thrown for 254 and 2 scores, and he's run for 45 yards. Bonifon. Andre Smith stuffs him at the 33. 2:45 on the clock. Louisville with all of its timeouts, leading by 6.
This is a great drive from the Cardinals, all the way backed up. First play of the drive, they just dropped Lamar Jackson right back and throw it. Moved it through the air very well throughout this first half.
Lamar sliding up in the pocket, and that pass nearly pulled in by Travion Samuel. Well covered by KJ Sales. They got called for pass interference earlier.
Just a little bit high for Travion Samuel. Travion Samuel, not the biggest target, only 5'7", so you have to be perfect, especially throwing it down the field. Jackson just a bit off the mark in what could have been another great throw and a potential touchdown.
If you're a Tar Heel, this is the biggest play of the game so far. Can you hold them to a field goal? Lamar Jackson's pass way off the mark. Looked like there was some confusion with the receivers, Bonifon and Samuel, and so it's 4th and 7. It would be about a 50-yarder, and Lamar Jackson's going to stay on the field here. So what do you think of this decision to go for it?
It's kind of in a gray area. Wind, it's kind of swirling down there on the field, which caused the ball to sail a little bit on that last throw. Can't really throw it, and not really much opportunity to punt it either on the opponent's 33-yard line. I like keeping your best player on the field.
Jackson in the pocket, and the pass is well overthrown, incomplete. Bobby Petrina looking at Lamar Jackson as if to say, what were you doing? Just off the mark on consecutive throws. He's
He's got an opportunity, a little pressure, a little bit of a guy in his lap, causes the ball to come out just a little bit high. Bobby Petrino not happy with the decision, though. Not necessarily the accuracy on the throw, but he had some other options to his left-hand side and a little bit more space to throw it into to convert on that 4th down.
So the Tar Heels take over on downs. They have all their timeouts left. Surratt, again, able to put a hand on and keep his balance. Picked up a couple yards. You saw also in that shot there, Lamar Jackson react and talk back to Bobby Petrino. And that didn't happen in the last couple of years because Bobby Petrino knows what he's talking about. Lamar was a freshman or sophomore last year, but now Jackson has such a better feel for the offense. He understands why Petrino's upset, and they can have a conversation about it. Bobby was giving him so much praise for his maturity and growth as a player in our meeting with him yesterday. Cunningham on the catch, stayed in bounds. Going to be 3rd and long here for North Carolina.
It'll be interesting to see if North Carolina decides to run it and force Louisville to burn one of their timeouts, or do they opt to throw it and try to convert to set up a potential 2-minute drive to end the half.
Don't want to give the ball back to Lamar Jackson. See what they do here on 3rd and 7. Surratt behind the intended receiver Thomas Jackson, incomplete. So North Carolina will have to get it back to Louisville with 1:11 on the clock.
A little surprised by that decision. Now Louisville's going to get the ball. Granted, it might not be in great position knowing how good Sheldon's been today so far, but they have 3 timeouts at their disposal, and with their tempo and Lamar Jackson's grasp of this offense and his ability to run the 2-minute drives, there's a lot of time left for him to make some plays.
Sheldon put the last one inside the 1-yard line. This will take a North Carolina hop, and turns out okay. Louisville will have to start from its 13-yard line, 51-yard punt. Lamar in a moment, but here's Adnan first. I'm going to answer Adnan's question. I do think the Badgers are a top 10 team. You with me on that?
It's a tale of 2 halves after last week's performance. I can tell you this much: if we're going to learn anything from that Utah State game, they can play in the 3rd and 4th quarter. Now, coming out of the gates, a little problematic.
Wisconsin's got to go to BYU next week. Bonifant dropping back to throw here, and throws it away. He was trying to go to Lamar Jackson. There's a penalty flag down here in the backfield on that trick play.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 49, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Jeremiah Clark, they did this kind of stuff last week.
This has got to absolutely infuriate Larry Fedora. Last week, exact same situation. 2-minute drive. Cal was backed up. It was 3rd and 12. They had just thrown it away. UNC's defense was off the field, and Jalen Dalton got called for targeting. Now, you give Louisville, fresh set of downs, an extra 15 yards, and some momentum in their pocket to try to steal some points before the end of the half. Got to infuriate Fedora.
Jackson, open receiver is Bonifant, and couldn't get out of bounds. We'll see if Louisville uses one of its 3 timeouts. The Cardinals will, so that stops the clock with 42 seconds to go. Take a look at this week's rankings, brought to you by Capital One. Wisconsin is currently 9th, by the way. Florida State canceled its game because of the hurricane. Clemson, Auburn, we haven't talked about that game yet. It's at Clemson. Auburn has a better quarterback now in Jarrett Stidham. Clemson's defense may be better than last year's group. What do you think of that ball game?
It's a game between 2 unknowns. How will Jarrett Stidham at Auburn, Kelly Bryant at Clemson, how will they handle the pressure of that prime time environment? I think it all comes down to whether or not Auburn's offensive line can corral that Clemson defensive front. They are so deep, they're so athletic, they're very physical. So if Auburn can establish the line of scrimmage, then they will have a chance, especially setting up some of their play actions. But That's a tall order. We haven't seen many people, Tom, corral that Clemson defensive front the last couple years.
Yeah, and if you go back and watch the tape on Auburn this last week, they've got a right tackle and starter Darius James. Now, Darius James came out of high school as a center and a guard. He shouldn't be playing tackle. He had an awful lot of trouble with Georgia Southern in the front last week. I think Auburn's got to stay ahead of the chains on 1st and 2nd down. If they get in a lot of 3rd and longs, I do not think Auburn up front can handle the front 7 for Clemson throughout the duration of the game. So the run game on early downs for Auburn is going to be key on the road.
Of course, the pencil neck play-by-play guys going with Auburn. You guys are going with Clemson.
You're our favorite pencil neck.
You're the best pencil neck.
2nd and 5. Jackson, long throw, incomplete through the hands of Seth Dawkins. By the way, that game tonight is on ESPN between Auburn and Clemson. More extracurricular activity between these two teams at the 30-yard line. I haven't played in a while. First game for North Carolina against Louisville since the Cardinals joined the ACC in 2013. But it looks like there's some bad blood regardless.
I'm telling you.
I like it, man. Get a little spicy down here.
Yeah, first game in conference play. Dial it up a little bit, Tom.
Count, let's get some bloody noses.
Yeah, I'm sure the coaches are really in agreement with you. All these unsportsmanlike conduct penalties we've had. Lamar Jackson, oh my goodness, how did he get out of the arms of Jalen Dalton? Scoots out of play, picking up the first down at the 40-yard line. Slippery.
He's always been so fast and agile, but now he's stronger than he ever was at any point last year. You can see the balance, the leg strength and the core strength to stay on his feet, break that tackle, and pick up the first down. Those are game-changing plays, and you become just enamored with how special this kid is every time you watch him.
Jackson to throw here. No, he won't. Sack. He didn't get away from Dalton this time. Dalton made sure of that. Louisville will call it 2nd timeout. 21 seconds to go in the half. All right, let's get to our Aflac trivia question. This is a good one. I like this one for you guys here. When was the last time North Carolina played against a Heisman Trophy winner?
Oh, my goodness. That is tough.
Do you have a guess? I mean, it was a long time ago. There's a hint.
It's got to be in the ACC. Let's say
it was an interconference game.
Man,
it was an interconference. Charlie Ward.
A Big Ten team.
Oh, Big Ten team.
All right.
Let's say Desmond Howard.
It was also the last time a Heisman Trophy winner repeated. Archie Griffin, 1975, Ohio State.
Why couldn't you have made that the question? The last time someone won the Heisman Trophy in consecutive years. I would have gotten that one, Dave.
Yeah, we would have had a chance.
Come on, Dave.
Billy Sims was the closest to win it again in 1980. I'm sure you remember that, Greg. Sims finished 2nd that year. But Archie Griffin, the only to win it twice. Lamar Jackson trying to repeat the feat. Shovels it ahead. Another dangerous play by Lamar Jackson. Travion Samuel down on the ground. So now it's 3rd down, 15 seconds to go. Surratt going to the locker room. So if North Carolina gets the ball back, you would assume it'd be Brandon Harris at quarterback. North Carolina doesn't give any updates on injuries, so we'd be guessing at this point. And they're just going to run the ball. Bonifon tackled shy of the line to gain. Cole Holcomb with a nice play. And Louisville just called another timeout to let Lamar Jackson just sling it into the end zone, I would presume, right?
You would assume, absolutely. Not often that you would see a head coach call a timeout in this situation. 4th down. Oftentimes you think, well, let's just limit mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Well, in this particular case, Bobby Petrino, ever the aggressive type of offensive mind. He wants to take a shot at the Hail Mary. I don't blame him. I can understand that.
All right, you and I were talking earlier this week about Louisville and its chances of winning the Atlantic Division. Based on last week against Purdue and what we've seen in the first half, what do you think?
I think their defense needs to find some answers in the secondary. Jair Alexander's out. Their other two corners have been vulnerable, not just last week, but also this week. And I think they need to identify some solid contributors along the defensive front. But if we're going to base things strictly on what they can do offensively, Lamar Jackson's the best player in college football. Regardless of position, he's the most difficult to defend. So they absolutely have a chance, but their defense needs to pick up the slack and not allow big plays like they have a couple different times today.
Carolina's got two guys deep. Jackson rolling out and going to hoist it downfield, incomplete. And there's time on the clock. There should be a second on the clock. Let's see. Louisville's running to the tunnel, but Larry Fedora is still arguing they should put a second back on the clock. But the officials say no. Boy, there's 1 second
Should
there.
definitely be a second left.
Should be a play. That would have let North Carolina throw the ball from the 50-yard line. Instead, it's halftime. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Vizio. This is the ACC on ESPN. Louisville ranked 17th in the country, leading North Carolina in Chapel Hill 20-14 behind 2 Lamar Jackson touchdown passes. But Jackson was held to just 47 rushing yards. Chaz Surratt, the North Carolina quarterback, was almost as good as Jackson throwing the ball. 12 of 14, 168 yards and 2 touchdowns.
The first time that Chaz Surratt has started for this North Carolina football team, and what a start it's been. Outstanding first half for the redshirt freshman.
This will be a touchback. North Carolina will start at the 25. Let's check in with Tom Luganville.
Well, from the Louisville sideline, Bobby Petrino told me that he was very frustrated with their inability to run the football inside the red zone. That has got to change. Over here for North Carolina, I asked Larry Fedora, is Chaz Surratt ready to go? He said, we're going to find out right now. He didn't seem too concerned. He loves his defensive game plan. They wanted to force Lamar Jackson to throw to beat him. He's made a couple of exceptional throws, but they haven't been ripped on the ground yet, and that's what he was happy about.
Well, Luke, it's going to be Brandon Harris, which is interesting based on what he told you. We heard that conversation with you, and Harris started last week at Cal. He is a grad transfer from LSU. He started 13 games with the Tigers. He's got incredible ability, great arm talent. And he's going to show it off here, throwing a deep ball, and it's incomplete. Radliff Williams couldn't catch up to it. We mentioned the 13 starts, 20 career touchdown passes. 2 years ago, he was 9-3 with LSU. And then lost his starting job last year, graduated, transferred here, started last week, went the first 2 drives, played 5 drives in all, but had a quarterback rating of 8.3 and was replaced by Chaz Surratt. Again, we're not told what the injury to Surratt was, but he did run into the locker room before halftime. Thomas Jackson, nice moves, past the 30 and near the first down at the 35. So this was a run by Chaz Surratt in the first half. It's possible that this is where it happened right here.
You can see the extension by that right leg. He went down, got hit, and as he was getting up, he was just a little bit ginger on that right leg. It'd be something to watch, see if he's able to come back in the game.
North Carolina doesn't tell us anything about injury, so again, we're not going to speculate on the injury. Carter with the carry, picks up 4 yards to the 39-yard line.
Guys, down on the sideline, as the quarterbacks came out, Chaz Surratt was throwing. He looked fine. He did not seem to have a limp in terms of his mobility. So there's obviously a concern there. And now it's Brandon Harris's opportunity to make up for some errors that resulted in 2 turnovers in last week's loss to Cal. Redeem himself a little bit, keep this momentum going for North Carolina.
On 2nd and 6, Harris running, stood up at the 43-yard line. Gain of 4 for Harris. He was highly rated and signed with LSU in 2014. 10-5 as a starter. And talking with the North Carolina coaches, and it was really the same issue at LSU. Confidence may be an issue with Harris. But, man, when you talked, remember when he was at LSU and we talked to him, big handshake, big smile, great leader, great teammate. It'd be a great redemption story if he plays well, but he almost threw a pick there, trying to hit Thomas Jackson. Chucky Williams stepped in front. It's 4th down.
Yeah, just a great defensive play by Chucky Williams, trying to undercut that quick out route. Nothing Brandon Harris could really do right there. Had his intended wide receiver through an accurate pass. Just a better defensive play than it was an offensive throw and catch. But Brandon Harris, an opportunity, like you said, to redeem himself. Always had the talent, but just hasn't been able to put the whole package together. It'll be interesting to see if he can get in rhythm here against this Louisville defense.
Tom Sheldon, who had a 66-yard punt in the first half. There's some movement.
Start offense, number 36, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Cole Holcomb. That pushes it back 5 yards. I don't think it matters, though. You can push it back 10 yards. The guy can still kick it inside the 10. Holcomb just fell down there. That was kind of weird.
It eliminates the possibility of a fake, though. So Louisville can focus for sure on the fact that this ball will be punted.
Not a good punt, though, by Sheldon. Scooped up by Bonifant. And he's past the 20-yard line. Lamar Jackson, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, back on the field when we return to Chapel Hill. Great matchup, rivalry game tonight on ESPN. Auburn and Clemson. And this will be in Death Valley, starting 7 Eastern time on ESPN. Also streaming live on the ESPN app, so you can stream that game and watch that and flip back and forth between Ohio State and Oklahoma, which will be on ABC at 7:30. Louisville's first drive of the 3rd quarter. We'll see if they get Lamar Jackson going in the run game. Instead, he'll hand it off in a huge running lane downhill. Malik Williams straight ahead picks up the 1st down.
Lamar Jackson, coming into the season, really wanted to work on his downfield passing. He's missed a few to the field and to the boundary to the right and left, but he's been pretty dang good on those throws deep over the middle. Very poised, very in control, balanced with his feet, and delivering the ball on time. If he can continue to develop as a passer, he will become unstoppable.
Put on 10 pounds in the offseason. Williams running right. And a good pickup there of about 6.
Mentioned that footwork and the patience for Lamar Jackson here in the red zone, holding on to it, allowing his receiver to get to that open void in the zone for the touchdown, but he still has the improvisational techniques that are incredible, like this off the corner cat, making the corner miss, setting his feet, getting back underneath himself, and delivering a strike on the post to Jalen Smith for the big touchdown. He looks so much more poised and in control in the passing game so far this year.
Running left is Williams, getting the 1st down, close to midfield.
Now this is exactly the approach, guys, that Bobby Petrino talked about going in the locker room at halftime. Was not happy with his offensive line, was not happy with their inability to just line up and say, hey, we're going to run it right now. And that's exactly what the mode of operation has been here. And as further they get down, they've got to make up some hay in the red area, Greg, because the passing game, their last 2 series in that 2nd quarter was really poor once they crossed the 30-yard line.
And they want to create balance offensively. They've been dynamite throwing it so far. But in the run game, there's still a lot of room for improvement, which is to be expected when you're starting and breaking into new pieces on the offensive line.
Jackson over the middle, pulled in by Jalen Smith for a gain of 8. You know, it's so interesting, Greg, going into this season that everybody's talking about Heisman candidates, and Lamar Jackson wasn't even on the list. And I don't know if that's because of the way the season ended last year and Deshaun Watson played in the postseason or what, but now everybody seemingly is back on the bandwagon after 1 week. What are the realistic chances of him winning the Heisman this year?
Well, Louisville has to win 10 or 11 games for sure and be in the national championship conversation. They likely have to win the ACC, and he has to match or beat his numbers from a year ago.
Here he goes, breaking a tackle. Jackson making moves at the 10, right on cue, staring down the defender as he hits pay dirt. Touchdown, Lamar Jackson. 43-yard run. He almost had that total in the first half.
He's just a man amongst boys. Doesn't even look like he's running hard. Look at how tight that hole is on the offensive line and the way he just splits it full throttle. right north and south, makes one cut, gets to the pylon. There's very few teams in college football that can match him athletically. There's almost no teams that can contain him for 4 quarters.
First rushing touchdown of the season. He had 21 a year ago.
For those that forgot, Lamar Jackson reminds you he is the reigning Heisman Trophy winner and could be once again.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by the United States Marine Corps. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Roy Williams National Championship team honored at halftime. Joel Berry, Luke May, Kennedy Meeks, Justin Jackson of the gang, with the former players like James Worthy, past champ, Raymond Felton, Marvin Williams, guys who won titles as well, presenting each player with a gift at halftime. Pretty cool. Yeah, Michael Jordan was supposed to be here for the game as the honorary captain, but had some travel issues because of the hurricane, and so was unable to make it. Ratliff Williams on the return for North Carolina. Kicker to beat. Past the 40-yard line. Inside the 20. He'll take it home. Touchdown, North Carolina. 94 yards. James Worthy said, that's showtime. And what a big play after it just looked like Louisville took total control of the game. Your quarterback is out for now if you're North Carolina, and you get a special teams touchdown. Jones puts it through.
What a huge play from the North Carolina special teams unit. And even more so by Anthony Ratliff Williams, just splitting the seam of the wedge and off to the races. Good luck, Blanton Creaky, the kicker, number 45. You're not catching him. You can see right up and under, untouched, all the way to the house. Poor angles by Louisville, but well executed by North Carolina within the wedge, opening up nothing but green grass, parting like the Red Sea. Absolutely incredible answer from the Tar Heels. Just when you thought momentum was entirely in favor of the Louisville Cardinals, North Carolina's third phase answers with a big play.
You know, Greg, when you have a young team and you lose all these players, it affects you on special team, because now you got new guys trying to learn positions. And they lost the return guys, Switzer and T.J. Logan, who are in the NFL because they can return. And then this guy, Anthony Ratliff Williams, gets a shot and returns it for a touchdown. Seth Dawkins now for Louisville. And that hole closes at the 28-yard line. Kick off your Week 1 NFL Sunday with ESPN at a new time with a new team. Sunday NFL Countdown comes to you at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Sam Ponder, the new host. Good luck to Sam. Rex Ryan, Charles Woodson, Matt Hasselbeck, Randy Moss, Mort Shefty, and more. Also streaming live at the ESPN app. What a game on Thursday between the Chiefs and Patriots.
Tell you what, I don't think a lot of people expected Kansas City to get a win. Congrats to Andy Reid.
Lamar Jackson hoping for a Sunday future. May have been hit that time as he threw. Try to hit Jalen Smith. 2nd and 10.
One of the few times, Greg, that we've actually seen people in the face of Lamar Jackson as he's delivering the football. It's been a clean pocket virtually the entire first half. So continued pressure, arms up from the North Carolina defensive lineman is going to be big.
And that's been a real point of emphasis for Louisville brought in the new offensive line coach, Mike Summers, who's been hired by Bobby Petrino 5 different times, hoping that group can improve significantly this year.
You got Robbie Bell back in there at center. Bonifant on the carry only gets a couple. Donnie Miles, a safety in there making the hit. So Louisville with a 3rd and long.
We have a look at Mike Summers right there. Very well respected in the industry. They had to get better from guard to guard. They think they have done that, in large part due to the addition of one of the biggest recruits in school history, Mekhi Becton. But they're going to have to protect Lamar right here.
Yeah, there's Becton at left tackle. 6'7", 340. Jackson over the middle. A strike for a first down near midfield. Des Fitzpatrick on the catch. So the Cardinals able to keep the drive alive. 19 yards.
I can count on one hand how many times we saw Lamar Jackson make a throw like this last year. Look at the zones uncover. He anticipates that hole in the defense and he throws his receiver into it. That's advanced. That's an NFL throw. And that's exactly what we want to see from Lamar Jackson moving forward if he's going to develop as a passer the way we think he can. The guy is just incredible running the football. But now that he's becoming a more complete passer, he's going to be tough to contain.
Andre Smith shaken up for Carolina. Welcome back to ESPN College Football presented by Vizio. Andre Smith, the second leading tackler for North Carolina last year. Here's what he said about Lamar Jackson. Again, I don't have a problem with this at all. Says he's not going to beat us. We're going to try to stop anything he does. We're going to cover downfield. I mean, there's nothing really volatile here.
What do you want him to say? He's going to dice us up like mincemeat? I mean, come on. You got to have confidence in your unit. I completely respect what he said. I don't feel like it was locker room or message board fodder at all.
Lamar Jackson back to throw. Long pass, incomplete. And Jalen Smith was open. The defender got turned around. 2nd and 10.
Tell you what, Greg, North Carolina has given up some explosive plays today, but there's a lot of teams in college football that right now have better players than North Carolina on defense, and Lamar Jackson's done the same thing to them too.
Yeah, they just got to stop giving up those big plays, Tom. Last week, they played well 65 different snaps, but then on 9 snaps, they had allowed 30 yards a snap, 270 yards on 9 plays. Same thing today. They've allowed 12 plays that have gone for 12 or more yards.
Jackson pulls it, and look out here. Getting outside easily. Gets the first down. Knocked out a play at the 36.
So difficult to contain this speed. You can see number 15, Donnie Miles, getting sucked inside just a little bit with that run action, which gives Lamar Jackson a whole field to work with, and he's able to pick up a nice run. So difficult with all the different misdirection that Louisville can do with the run game. It's tough to contain and stay disciplined in the secondary.
He's over 100 rushing yards for the 2nd straight game and throws this one low. It's caught by Bonifant. He'd have been better off dropping it. He lost 4 yards. I'm going to digress for a second. I'd love at some point for college football to adopt the NFL rule where you're not down when your knee hits the ground if you're untouched. You can actually get up and keep playing if there's no contact.
I agree. I like it. And I'm an offensive guy. So if you fall down on your own power, one, you're going to get made fun of in the film room the next day, which is tough enough to deal with. But then you have a lost yardage play when there's nothing but green grass around you. I think that would be great to add to college football.
On 2nd and 15, Jackson way over the head of the intended receiver, Seth Dawkins, incomplete. These are some long throws he's attempting.
Yeah, he's missed 3 in a row, just in large part due to having his feet just a little bit too lazily in the pocket. And he missed a deep one that was wide open. He missed a swing route to the left-hand side, which was open as well, and then another one right there. Got to make sure that those feet are underneath him, and his release point is consistent so he can throw the ball accurately.
Going to need an accurate pass here. 3rd and 15. Got to get to the 26-yard line. Climbing the pocket, pumping, and sacked. 4 guys, led by Case and Collins, take down Lamar Jackson back at the 44-yard line.
Great job by North Carolina's defense, bringing 5. So every one of the Louisville offensive linemen were on islands. Therefore, you just have to have one guy win defensively in the pass rush and it's going to result in a sack. That guy was Cason Collins, dragging Lamar Jackson down to force the punt. Well executed defensively, and a great call by John Papuch as the coordinator.
First punt of the day for Louisville. Mason King. Nicely done. Fair catch. And then Kroll gets bumped, and that's a flag. Oh, my. Man, Chucky Williams, you got to stay out of the way of the return man, even after he catches the football. That would have made it first down at the North Carolina 8. Instead, the ball's going to be near the 23.
Personal foul. Kicking team, number 22. 15-yard penalty. First down.
And that's a captain, Chucky Williams.
It's a senior. You can't make mistakes like this. Louisville, so many times last season, shot themselves in the foot with fumbles and penalties. Last week, they had 16 penalties. Here they get another dumb one from their senior captain, Chucky Williams. Absolutely can't happen.
Brandon Harris, who started week 1 for North Carolina quarterback. We didn't even know if we'd see him in this game. Now playing for what appears to be an injured Chaz Surratt, who was brilliant in the first half. Harris struggled on the opening drive for North Carolina. See how he does here. Gonna run a little option, and Harris will keep it. Takes it to the 30-yard line. Good gain on first down, picking up 7. Stacey Thomas brings him down.
See Chaz Surratt over on the bike, helmet off. It's a great start for him. Unfortunate that it doesn't look like he's going to be able to return.
Harris throws to Kroll, complete at the 40-yard line. And we talk about the arm strength of Lamar Jackson, what he puts on the football. Whoa. Brandon Harris.
Brandon Harris can sling the football. He's as gifted as passers you'll find in college football. Very accurate. It's just the decision-making that has not always been very consistent.
I mean, look how quick he got that ball out. That was well defended on Austin Kroll. No gain on the play. Stacey Thomas was all over it, but that's just like a shortstop. Catch and fire and get it over there quickly.
You can put him in any NFL training camp tomorrow, and he can throw it with anybody. I mean, accuracy, spin, velocity. He's outstanding, but for some reason, it just hasn't been able to consistently put it all together. Hoping to right the wrongs of his career at this point in North Carolina.
Keeps it here on the option. Again, well defended. Trevon Young for Louisville makes the tackle. So put Brandon Harris in a 3rd and long here.
Now, that's the thing, Greg, that's made him so frustrating, but it's also a great lesson in the evaluation of the position coming out of high school. It becomes very easy to become enamored with physical traits, but you better start uncovering the layers.
North Carolina, Tom, just 1 of 6 on 3rd down. This is 3rd and 7. Off play action. Harris airing it out, and he's got a man. It's underthrown. Incomplete, but a flag. Devin Perry had a step on Tremaine Washington.
Defense, number 15. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Jermaine Washington got beat deep a couple times last week as well against Purdue. This time, he's way beat. Tries to turn around, but still makes way too much contact with the intended receiver. Obvious and easy call for this group of referees.
Remember, 2 guys, no Jair Alexander. Let's see if they take some more deep shots. The best corner for Louisville, one of the best in the country, out today with an injury. And you got a quarterback that can throw it that far, though that time he undershot the receiver. From the 41-yard line of Louisville. Here's Kroll. He's going to throw it deep. He's got a man. But he overshot the intended receiver, Jordan Cunningham, incomplete.
Oh, my goodness. A perfectly called play by Chris Kapilovic, the offensive coordinator. Kroll gets out on the edge. It's well protected. When you're a right-handed passer, that ball has a tendency to fade just a little bit like a golf shot. As it rolls off your fingers, it's going to tail just a little to the right. Kroll, not having a lot of experience throwing it, realizes it right there where he throws it out of bounds to a wide open intended receiver.
He had Thomas Jackson wide open too in the middle of the field. Could have thrown to either guy. On 2nd and 10. Des Newsome had a big play in the first quarter, but not here. It's nailed at the 40-yard line, so a short gain. Going to bring up 3rd and long. Dorian Etheridge, true freshman middle linebacker, made the hit.
And if I'm Larry Fedora and Chris Kapilovic, I'm still going to challenge this Louisville secondary down the field. They've had some chances to hit one down the field, and they were just rewarded with a pass interference. But there's been some open receivers, especially on 9 routes, go routes, right down the field past these corners.
Harris leaving the pocket, throws on the run, a strike. Rolling left, throwing left. He hits Ratliff Williams for a 1st down.
Great job executing the scramble drill here by the North Carolina offense. Anthony Ratliff Williams recognizes his quarterback's in trouble, comes back to him, and gets a big 1st down.
Jordan Brown running right, grabbed at the ankles at the 23-yard line by Kane Pass. Boy, if Brandon Harris ends up winning this game, what a great story for a guy that at LSU thought that he was a quarterback of the future. Things didn't work out there. Lost a starting job, transfers here, trying to replace the number 2 pick in the NFL draft in Mitchell Trubisky. Lost his starting job after 1 week as the number 1 quarterback with the Tar Heels. But back out there because of an injury to Chaz Surratt. On 2nd and 5. To the end zone, it's caught. Touchdown, Thomas Jackson. And what a pass by Harris. Well, if he lacked confidence earlier, it's back. Redemption time for Brandon Harris. There's an injured player, though, at the 27-yard line. It's the center Cam Dillard, who was injured earlier in this game.
What a throw by Brandon Harris. I mean, that is
the one thing that got Louisville, and this got Louisville in the first half too, and you've got to credit Brandon Harris for being in control of the offense, is the tempo. Greg, you touched on this in our last break. North Carolina's got to get back to doing some tempo. They did it right there, and every time they've been able to employ it. And keep in mind, tempo is about getting 1st downs. You get 1st downs, you can maintain tempo. Louisville's had a hard time lining up and getting the call in from the sideline. Brandon Harris, very, very good, taking advantage of it.
That does not look good there for Cam Dillard. J.J. McCargo is the backup. He already got a couple reps in this game. And the extra point gives North Carolina the lead as we check in with Adnan Verke. Dave, surprised by that? Cincinnati hanging with Michigan in the big house?
I'm shocked by that. Absolutely shocked. Of all the teams last week, you could make a very clear argument that Michigan had the most impressive performance. Cincinnati, on the heels of a bit of a rebuild, testing the Wolverines early.
Oh, guys, sometimes when you have that big of a highly anticipated opener and then you get through it and all of a sudden you let a big breath out, and for some reason that next week's not quite the same.
Yeah, good point. North Carolina leads our 5th lead change. It'll be the Heisman Trophy winner's turn now. Come from behind win last week for Louisville. This will come out to the 25 here in the touchback. Let's look back at our Napa Auto Parts drive recap.
Welcome to Chapel Hill, Brandon Harris. Didn't get the start, but maybe he'll get the finish. Great throw right there to Kroll on the sideline. Then he rolls out on 3rd and long. Finds Ratliff Williams working back to him. And how about this throw? Look how tight that coverage is by Kane Pass. Perfectly thrown. Thomas Jackson on the seam. Brandon Harris is feeling it.
So Lamar Jackson, run for 280, run for 103. And he'll pass here, and he's looking downtown. Overthrew the open man, Jalen Smith.
That was the same exact play that Lamar Jackson hit Jalen Smith on earlier in the game for the touchdown. They went with a little bit different presentation. They get the naked, the pull-up, the boot, the post, the overthrow. That's one Lamar Jackson would love to have back. Threw a dime earlier, just a little strong here at the end of the third quarter.
What a Jalen Dalton, 6'6" defender, maybe altered that one a little bit. Underneath pass caught by Fitzpatrick down the sideline, getting the first down pass, the 40. Out of bounds near the 46, so a 21-yard pickup.
I like this play call from Bobby Petrino. The last few throws, Lamar Jackson's just barely missed the mark. Got to get him in rhythm throwing it. He had an underthrow, an overthrow, a missed wide, and then another underthrow. Now, get him a nice, easy completion to a receiver that's going to be moving. And now he's going to have an opportunity to kind of build on that momentum that he just created with that last throw.
So over 300 yards passing. Here's Malik Williams running and brought down at the 47-yard line. It's an amazing stat, though, we just showed you about Lamar Jackson. 300, 100 games. Remember, this weekend last year at Syracuse, he almost had a 400, 200 game. He had 400 yards passing and a $199 rushing.
What a performance that was. I mean, I know it was early in the season, but he made a statement that night. Looking to try to do the same here today. He's off to a pretty good start.
On 2nd and 3, Jackson in trouble, and down he goes. There's Jalen Dalton again. Jackson acting as if he wasn't down, but Jalen Dalton shaken up on the play. 2 tackles for a loss for the big guy.
Jalen Dalton just overwhelming Robbie Bell, the center. Down. Sets up a 3rd and 6 for Lamar. With quick game, though, it was going to be very difficult for any defensive lineman to get to the backfield there.
A lot of cushion for the receiver, Seth Dawkins. Easy pitch and catch, another Louisville first down. Got some huge receivers. He's 6'3", 214. Jalen Smith, 6'4", 220. Jalen Smith has 166 yards in this game after 117 last week against Purdue.
Quick game passing game's been good on this drive for Lamar Jackson. Haven't had a lot of opportunity to run it recently, though. Maybe they try to get it going here.
Williams trying to stretch it to the outside and could not. Brought down by Jeremiah Clark for North Carolina.
It's a good point, Greg, because if you recall, the first drive for Louisville on offense out of the third quarter was entirely devoted to the run and ended in a Lamar Jackson touchdown run. So a little bit more diversity here, but you're right, it's the quick passing game that seems to be clicking as opposed to the intermediate and downfield stuff.
Final seconds of the third quarter. North Carolina lost at home to Cal, and right now leading Lamar Jackson in Louisville. Jackson, and I think the official was the one that got him there. Brought down at the 15-yard line. He slowed him up just enough.
Just a spread 5 wide receiver set gave Lamar Jackson a lot of room to pick up the first down in the red zone.
So we go to the fourth quarter in Chapel Hill. Remember, Louisville goes home to play Clemson next week, and right now in trouble on the road in the ACC opener, but still 15 minutes to play. Terrific game so far in North Carolina. We got a tight game here. Michigan is in a fight at home against Cincinnati. And how about the games tonight? Ohio State, Oklahoma, ABC. And this game on ESPN, Auburn at the defending national champion Clemson Tigers, 7 Eastern. North Carolina with 14 third quarter points to take a 1-point lead over 17th ranked Louisville. But a first down for Lamar Jackson and the Cardinals at the 15-yard line. Jackson on the rollout, keeps in bounds and close to the 5-yard line. Back-to-back games for Lamar Jackson of 300 passing yards and 100 rushing yards. Second player ever. You know who the other guy was? I know you know this.
Johnny Manziel.
you knew the answer. Just say it. Don't have to pretend like you don't.
Chase Clement Rice.
Yes, Chase Clement Rice.
Ed Rice. That's amazing.
2007. Running straight ahead, Williams. And he gets the first down. It'll be 1st and goal from the 3.
Last week against Purdue, Louisville had several mistakes at this part of the field, Tom. Fumbles, false starts. They backed themselves up and shot themselves in the foot way too many times.
No doubt.
Expect them to run vanilla base offense down here so they don't continue to make those mistakes in the critical part of the field.
Lamar Jackson bouncing it outside, now cutting it back and into the end zone. Touchdown. A grown man run by Lamar Jackson.
That's base offense, but that's not the way Bobby Petrino drew it up. That's just Lamar Jackson being Lamar Jackson. North Carolina plays it perfectly, and yet there is no stopping number 8 for the Cardinals.
Go for 2 here, fellas.
Yeah, I saw Louisville go for 2 twice last week, unsuccessful both times. They ran it once and they threw it once. I expect to get Lamar Jackson on the perimeter and to give him potentially a run-pass option.
Here it is, rolling out, looking to throw, and fires it way high, trying to hit Jalen Smith. So it's a 5-point lead for Louisville. 4th touchdown for Lamar Jackson. 2 passing, 2 on the ground. You don't want to know what my major was in college. I know, Greg, yours was basket weaving, correct?
Underwater basket weaving.
This guy, last time he touched it, returned to kickoff for a touchdown. Ratliff Williams, I'm surprised they kicked it to him here. Makes it to the 30-yard line. So they're honoring the national championship basketball team earlier. So we said, you know what? We're better than these guys, even though James Worthy's here. I mean, look at that. Look at that.
I mean, just such pure form.
So you had to go around the world, and we all made 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I was a little less than that, but
this was the tie.
Look at the ups.
That was pressure. That was pressure. You made that to force overtime, and then showed off the hops there.
I just had to show my athleticism against you, Dave. You're just such a pure shooter. You can't create your own shot, though. That's your problem.
We'll show you what happened in overtime in a minute, although we're still disputing the video whether it's real or not. Brandon Harris, long throw here, and it's pulled in by Austin Prohl near midfield. All right, so here's the overtime. Foot on the line, should not have counted. Tom Luganville swishes home the half court.
Very grainy, fuzzy TV on a shot that shows indisputable, or it shows disputable video at ends.
Well, I can tell you this much.
What?
Should have marked it 0. Over the line. Big Lebowski reference there.
Oh, really?
Over the line. Mark it 0.
Really?
Yeah.
No. Let me tell you something. I almost did this. I almost did the underhand, the Rick Barry.
By the way, we need to get back to football because that's the only chance I have against you two guys is if we actually throw the football.
Yeah, what are the standings?
Here they are right here. Tom's got 5 points. I'm in 2nd place, and the guy who's a former pro athlete in last. Meanwhile, we have an injury. London Jacopo for Louisville. Back in a moment.
ESPN College Football is presented by Vizio, maker of award-winning 4K displays.
Trying to ring the bell. It was ringing yesterday after Luganville drilled that half-court shot. It's a great picture from our booth here. You look out, beautiful trees, and then you got the bell tower about 50 yards from the end zone. North Carolina on the move. Brandon Harris coming in for the injured Chaz Surratt has played beautifully. It's a great throw to Austin Prohl to get him out near midfield. They have a 2nd and 7 now. Trailing by 5 against the Heisman Trophy winner Lamar Jackson and the 17th ranked Louisville Cardinals, who play Clemson next week. Off play action. Harris gets leveled as he throws. Complete. How did he complete that pass by Austin Prohl? He got clobbered by Stacey Thomas. Let's go to Adnan in the studio. All right, and here North Carolina, Adnan on the move after that great play by Brandon Harris. Pump fakes here. And Harris throws. Knocked away. Incomplete. Thomas Jackson, the intended receiver. Excellent play by Tremaine Washington. Again, Louisville without its best corner today because of injury. Jair Alexander's out.
And Tremaine Washington's been picked on a couple times on deep balls. Got called for pass interference earlier. This time comes over the top and swats it down. Excellent pass breakup by the senior.
Penalty marker down here on second down. There was movement by North Carolina.
Offense, number 86, 5-yard penalty. Second down.
To tight end Carl Tucker. It's been 7 years since North Carolina started 0-2. Got to go back before Larry Fedora, trying to avoid an 0-2 start this season.
Yeah, you can see just the right hand side just getting a little bit of a head start. Wasn't much of one though. Tell you what, they're searching. I didn't see much movement there at all.
Me neither. Harris off play action. In trouble. Flag comes down as Harris is sacked.
Flag on the play.
Henry Famarua got him. Let's see what the penalty's for.
Holding. Offense, number 58. That penalty's declined. Third down.
Nick Polino with the penalty, but they decline it. And so it is third down and about 19.
North Carolina's had this situation a little earlier. Chaz Surratt, the redshirt freshman, got sacked for a loss of 30. Now they're way backed up behind the sticks after having a couple nice plays to get them into Louisville territory.
See if Louisville comes after him here. They rush three. Harris. It's caught over the middle. Coming up short of the first down, though. Radliff Williams on the catch. It'd be about a 47-yard field goal. It looks like North Carolina is going to keep the offense on the field. Fourth down and about a yard and a half.
There's your bang 8, Greg.
There it is. A little wrap post right there. Well thrown.
It's a great throw
by Brandon Harris.
North Carolina is going to talk about it, call a timeout. They have a new kicker this year in Freeman Jones. He's 1 of 2 in the season with a 39-yard made field goal. We'll see if he gets a shot or if they go. Following our game at 4 Eastern, it's the All-American U.S. Open Women's Championship match. Madison Keys and Sloane Stephens both playing in their first major final. You can see it on the ESPN app as well. North Carolina going for it on fourth down. The ball just past the 30-yard line. And it's a pass play. It's deflected and nearly intercepted. It doesn't matter. Louisville will take over on downs. Derek Dorsey got a piece of that Harris pass.
I don't like that play call at all. Earlier in the game on a 4th and 1, they opted to go with a little spider 2 and slip the fullback out in the flat. Right here, obviously the ball gets tipped. It almost is intercepted. Good job up front by Louisville's defensive line getting their hands up and affecting the pass, but why not run it in a situation like that, especially with numbers in your favor?
I agree with you, Greg. You had to make cut blocks. You didn't make them. Your receiver falls down. There were a lot of things there could go wrong, and they all did.
And it's almost like you're showing confidence in a guy that you didn't have any confidence in before a few of the throws that Brandon Harris has made. Lamar Jackson, long throw that is on the money to Jalen Smith near the 48. Let's go to Adnan. And Louisville on the move again. Lamar Jackson having another stellar day. He's got 4 touchdowns, 342 passing yards and 2 scores, 121 rushing yards. And here's another pass that's caught. Seth Dawkins, wow, gets rid of the defender KJ Sales as he steps out at the 32-yard line.
I'm very impressed with these Louisville wide receivers. Came in, didn't have a ton of production last year, lost their top 3 guys and a great tight end in Cole Hicatini. But man, they have answered the challenge. Jalen Smith and Seth Dawkins, Travion Samuel, Reggie Bonifant at running back when he becomes a receiver. This group is really good, deep, long, and physically talented.
Jackson rolling left. And another wide open receiver, but it was dropped. Mickey Crum left alone. Poor coverage that time, but Crum unable to make the catch at 2nd and 10. Bobby Petrino, one of the best offensive minds in college football, no doubt. And you look at his success with quarterbacks in college, and he's coached so many great players. Even in his very brief stint in the NFL, he had Michael Vick, but he was effusive with his praise for Lamar Jackson yesterday. And again, Petrino, knowing with his time in the NFL as an assistant coach, working with Mark Brunell and all the guys he's coached in college, how many good ones he's had. Williams wrapped up, powers for a couple yards. Tackle made by Malik Carney. Lamar Jackson has grown so much in his maturity and his intelligence playing the position.
He really has. And you look at the rest of his supporting cast. I mean, the wide receivers are very good, but the running game outside of his production has been a little bit up and down. So if they can figure out how to mirror some of his advancements in the passing game with a capable rushing attack that isn't him carrying the ball, this offense has a chance to be every bit as good, if not significantly better than a year ago.
Big 3rd and 8 here for Lamar. Jackson in the pocket, wide open in the middle of the field. It's caught by Fitzpatrick. Touchdown. Five touchdowns on the day, 3 through the air for Lamar Jackson.
If this play looks familiar, it's because the Louisville Cardinals hit the exact same play against Purdue last week for a big gain. Des Fitzpatrick working the middle with 2 high safeties, nothing but green grass. Great throw from Lamar Jackson and a big touchdown for the Louisville Cardinals.
40-28. Louisville in front. This is too much for North Carolina to overcome. Lamar Jackson, 3 touchdown passes on the day. ESPN College Football presented by Vizio. Lamar Jackson having another stellar day for the Louisville Cardinals in defense of his Heisman Trophy from last year. 393 passing yards, 121 rushing yards, and 5 total touchdowns. And Louisville has opened up a 12-point lead. Still a lot of time left. 32 on the clock. Short kickoff fielded at the 25-yard line and up near the 30.
Let's go back to last week. Louisville against Purdue. Lamar Jackson trying to work the middle of the field. Look at the 2 high safeties. Look at his feet underneath him. He throws a strike on the seam to Des Fitzpatrick. Tell me if this looks familiar. 2 high safeties. Number 87 in white running right up the seam. Now the throw wasn't as accurate, but the same route concept. Well thrown by Lamar Jackson, well caught by Des Fitzpatrick, and well called by Bobby Petrino.
Brandon Harris stepping up and going for Prohl. Another great pass. And then Prohl's tackled out of bounds, and here comes a flag. Trayshawn Smith, the true freshman from Louisville. I think this is something that continues to keep Louisville from winning championships.
Personal foul.
Prohl's hurt.
Defense number 4. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Louisville, so many dumb penalties. Well, what are you doing here?
Just no answer for that. It's a lack of awareness. And I understand that Trayshawn Smith is a freshman, so I'm more willing to let him off the hook than some other guys that have played before. You can't keep giving up 15-yard chunks on defense, and you can't keep stopping the momentum on offense with inexcusable penalties.
And Prohl was shaken up on that play, so not out there. Here's a pitch to Carter. Able to get outside. Here comes another flag. Carter brought down close to a first down. This should be on North Carolina.
Holding. Offense number 10. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Wide receiver Jordan Cunningham out there holding.
Tough penalty for North Carolina. You can see there's Cunningham locked up, holding on way too long. You can see obviously the body language of Trayshawn Smith, that shoulder getting turned. Here's North Carolina on the cusp of the red zone. Then you have a holding penalty that knocks you way out.
Pearl back in there. You see him bottom of your screen. Harris, another long throw to Pearl to the 10-yard line. And they're working the left side of the field, 33 yards.
I'll tell you what, they have no answer defensively for this little post corner route. Austin Proehl, son of the NFL wide receiver Ricky Proehl, one of the best route runners in college football. Look at the separation he creates.
His dad was the same way, part of the greatest show on turf with the Rams, then won another Super Bowl with the Colts. Keep in mind, too, Louisville without its best player in the secondary today because of injury, Jair Alexander. First and goal, run play. True freshman Michael Carter down to the 5-yard line. Wouldn't you love to celebrate a Super Bowl with your dad? And when the Rams won it, Kurt Warner, quarterback, Ricky, a coach for a while with the Carolina Panthers, now just hanging out. Carter trying to cut it back. And it's going to be 3rd down and goal from about the 3. Proehl, by the way, has 120 receiving yards on the day, 8 catches. 4 down territory, boys, here?
Yes, absolutely. Knowing the situation, knowing that your defense has had a tough time stopping Louisville all day, this is absolutely 4 down territory.
These coaches are talking up these Louisville defenders.
Carter, no running room, down he goes. John Bernard makes the play. So now you're in a situation, do you go for it here? If you're 4th down and goal on the 4, you almost can't run the ball anymore, but a field goal really doesn't help you at this point, 7 minutes to go.
Doesn't do you any good. 9 points, it's still a 2-score game. Completely agreed that you have to go for it. But you can't lose yards right there. That was a mistake by Michael Carter, sidestepping and hesitating as opposed to just putting his head down and trying to inch that ball closer to the goal line.
4th and goal for North Carolina. Harris with time. It's caught. Fritz trying to break a tackle and stretch out. And they ruled that he's out of bounds at the 1. Chucky Williams on the tackle. It'll be Louisville ball. And
Rolling on the field.
Fritz isn't even arguing
Ball
it.
carrier fumbled the ball forward and out of bounds, short in the end zone. The ball replaced it.
Well, they're saying he actually lost the ball.
First down.
What an effort from Fritz.
Oh, he did.
He did. Clearly lost it, and the ball goes out of bounds. Good job by the officials getting the correct spot. Man, does this look familiar or what? Remember Louisville Clemson last year? Louisville having a chance on 4th down in Clemson territory, potentially going in, trying to get the lead. They come up short on 4th down. What an effort by Brandon Fritz, the tight end for North Carolina, but what a great defensive stand for Louisville, keeping them out of the end zone. That was not easy, trying to bring down 250 and forward momentum.
Here's the play you're talking about from that Louisville Clemson game a year ago. Remember, they'll meet next week at Louisville. So close to the Cardinals here.
So close. Inches
On the field
away
is confirmed. First down.
That was a
getting the
great game
first
last
down.
year.
Man, what a game it was. Sloppy if you're an offensive guy. 8 turnovers combined between the two teams, but Louisville holds on. That's going to be one heck of a contest next week.
Are they better equipped this year to beat them with Deshaun Watson out there?
Yes. And it's not that Louisville's better equipped. I think it's partly also because Clemson still has some question marks. Now, those question marks might become answers tonight when they play against a very tough test in the Auburn Tigers.
You see Jackson closing in on 400 passing yards. It would be his second career 400 passing yards, 100 rushing yards game. But they got to get out of their own way here inside the 1-yard line. They got a fullback in the game, and they're able to get out of the end zone. Williams out to the 3-yard line to give him a little bit more space.
Well, Greg, to your point earlier about Louisville and whether or not they can create a run game that doesn't include Lamar Jackson, it's this type of situational football where you need that guy. They're just not dynamic in the backfield. They don't have game changers. And so it is going to be tough, I think, for them to manufacture that. You get out of a hole, you're going to have a bevy of tailbacks to do it without your quarterback.
And Tom, offensive line is improved, but it's still not a strength. They need to still continue to grow at that spot.
Williams off the right side. Breaks a tackle at the 10-yard line. Fighting for yardage to move the chains at the 12. That's a big first down for Malik Williams, who's back in North Carolina. He's from Wilson, North Carolina.
It was a heck of a run by Williams. He did not have enough for the first down, but he kept those legs churning and got lower than the lowest defender and carried it to a fresh set of downs.
Yep.
Really, really hard run right there from Williams.
That's big because now you can take time off the clock. Let the play clock get down inside 10 seconds. Williams 75 rushing yards on 12 attempts. Going to give it to him off the left side this time, and he's got a first down and more. Stays in bounds at the 40-yard line. Williams being chased inside the 30. They finally get to him inside the 20-yard line.
Well, Tom, I guess the questions are answered as to whether or not they're going to find another capable ball carrier.
Yeah.
Great blocking on the perimeter by the wide receivers, allowing Williams a lot of room to work. This play went from a great play to an incredible play because of the effort by the wideouts holding that block as long as they did. Outstanding job by the offensive line, but an even better job by what are usually pretty boy wide receivers, but hard workers there, that's for sure.
He had 75 rushing yards before that play. Malik Williams got 74 on that run. They're looking at him right now. Reggie Bonifant touched it on the last play.
You know what, though, fellas? I think a lot of this, too, and you got to credit Bobby Petrino because this is what he said going into halftime, is you have to make the attempt to do it. If you're going to hand the ball off and you're going to do it on successive downs, then maybe you'll see some results. They did that to open up the third quarter, scored on the opening drive without throwing a pass, and they've done it here when they've needed to do it most.
And Tom, much of the same for North Carolina. Have some really good plays defensively. Played 90% of the game outstanding. And then they give up those big back-breaking plays, whether it be through the air or on the ground. North Carolina moving forward has to quit giving up those catastrophic gains offensively because their defense is playing hard. But when you give up a 70-plus yard run, a 50-plus yard pass, and multiple missed tackles on both of those big plays, coupled with many others throughout the course of the game, it's very difficult to field a consistent defense.
They got a tough schedule. They got at Virginia Tech, Miami, at NC State. They got Notre Dame coming to town. We'll learn a lot more about Notre Dame after tonight. Notre Dame's got Georgia and South Bend. Going to be a quarterback run all the way for Lamar Jackson. And he's able to stretch forward for the touchdown. The Lamar show continues. 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns today. 8 on the season in just 2 games.
I don't know what else you can say. The kid is just ridiculous. Lamar Jackson is as dynamic of a quarterback as I've ever seen. He's big, he's tall, his accuracy is constantly improving. It's going to be scary to see him in the weeks to come as he continues to get more comfortable. Let's check in with the studio.
And you know that Mac is gunning for your job. I mean, he's got his own show now. He's a host. Thinking Out Loud with Greg McElroy and Marcus Spears on SEC Network Monday night, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Here, hang on. Let me give you that $20 I promised you if you mentioned it in the broadcast.
It was 200. It was 200.
No,
you said.
it was 20.
By the way, Louisville over 700 yards of total offense on the day.
I'm telling you, Tom, I watched Lamar Jackson all off season, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out why people were being so critical. Yes, you look at the last 3 games, they weren't great by any stretch of the imagination, but the supporting cast let him down too.
Yep.
The kid's the best player in college football, bar none. There's no doubt in my mind.
Carter taking the short kickoff and bringing it back to the 36-yard line. Well, Lamar Jackson, a guy from South Florida, so you know he's playing today with mixed emotions. His mom is from there. She was supposed to attend today's game, but he didn't look like he was bothered by anything in this one, accounting for 6 total touchdowns.
Just unbelievable. I mean, running it, throwing it, just so much more comfortable. You can tell, and he still does plays like this. I mean, it's perfectly defended, and there's just nothing you can do about it.
Greg, I think the only reason at Tom why people were not even considering him before the season was because he won it last year. It's almost like now, because you won it the year before, you're fighting an uphill battle before the season even starts to repeat, because it hasn't happened in 40 years. And we've had several guys recently, especially, that have come back to college after winning a Heisman Trophy to try to get it a second time.
But what's so irritating was the constant narrative. Well, you know what? It's kind of voters' remorse. Deshaun Watson should have won the Heisman Trophy. Deshaun Watson was incredible, but he had 17 interceptions.
And you can't count the national championship
And
game.
you can't count what he did in the postseason. So I got real tired of hearing how, oh, Deshaun Watson should have won it. Oh, Sam Darnold was really the best player. No, he wasn't. Lamar Jackson was. And if you want to take a 13-game sample size to look at the entire body of work, it was obvious. Lamar Jackson should, going into week 3, more than likely be the front runner again. I know Josh Rosen had a great performance. I know Saquon Barkley's sensational. Sam Darnold's a great player, should bounce back after last week's performance. But Lamar Jackson, until I'm proven otherwise, is the guy to beat for the Heisman Trophy again this year.
First down for North Carolina, but down by 19 points. Harris throws complete. Receiver had the knee down, so the play's over. Our annual Week 1 Monday Night Football doubleheader starts with the Saints and Vikings, followed by the Chargers and the Broncos. Sean McDonough, John Gruden, Beth Mowens, Rex Ryan, your game announcers for the doubleheader Monday night on ESPN. Pass complete to Jake Vargas, and a first down for North Carolina.
No, Greg, the scary thing about Lamar Jackson is not only are they better guard to guard in the offensive front, they're not where they need to be, but they're better, is what he's now able to do and what they're able to trust him with in the passing game.
Off play action, Harris unloading into the end zone, but overthrown, incomplete.
And Tom, I'd be remiss too if we didn't mention the F better than them, and that has more talent and more experience than them, and that has the best player on the field. So I think that arrows pointing up. Last week's performance, very disappointing. This week's performance, a little bit better.
They led going into the fourth quarter. Louisville scored the final 20 points of the game. Daz Newsome on the catch. Clock will stop to reset the chains. Next week, it'll be Louisville and Clemson. And obviously, the Tigers have a tough one tonight at home against Auburn. Now, that will go a long way in the Lamar Jackson Heisman discussion, but also the Louisville playoff discussion. Be interesting to see how the voters handle this week. Nice throw by Harris to Vargas, breaks tackles, comes up just short of the goal line. But it'll be interesting because in the AP, Louisville dropped a spot from last week because they struggled with Purdue. How do the voters look at this game trailing going into the fourth quarter? Obviously, nothing really matters, though, until the playoff rankings come out at the end of October. Carter didn't get into the end zone.
Yeah, I think that so far this season, Louisville still has a lot to prove, a lot to work through. But they're going to be in the hunt again, especially with the injury to DeAndre Francois at Florida State.
Touchdown, Michael Carter. That'll make the margin of defeat for North Carolina a little bit slimmer. 31 seconds left in the game.
Michael Carter, haven't had a lot of chances to talk about him today, but I think he's going to be a good one. Just a freshman. Reminds the coaching staff a little bit. Giovanni Bernard. with that sudden change of pace and that lateral agility. He's a guy to keep an eye on in the weeks to come.
Let's take you back to the top of the telecast as you look at the incredible day that Lamar Jackson had, and Greg McElroy's thoughts on whether Lamar Jackson should be at the top of the Heisman list after week 1.
Sick and tired of people suggesting that Lamar Jackson's not the best player in college football. He is. Case closed.
Well, you called your shot, and I know it's against the poor defense, but still, some of the things that Lamar Jackson does, nobody else can do in college football. And again, those last 3 games at the end of last year left a sour taste in the mouth of some voters, but through 2 games, he's been brilliant. The big test comes next week at home against Clemson.
The scary thing is he's getting better. Every week he's getting a little bit better. He looked comfortable in the passing game last week. I think there were strides taken in that department here today. Can he be a little more consistent in the run game? Probably. Can he be a little more accurate and not go through lulls in which he misses 3, 4, 5 in a row? Sure. But when you take the entire sample size of what we saw for the last 60 minutes of action, there's few that can do it like him, and there's none that can do it like him on Saturday.
Well, you and Tom both made the point of there are times today where we saw him stay in the pocket where last year he would have taken off, and he made the right decision when he stayed in the pocket today. That one beautiful touchdown pass that he threw in the first half, where last year he definitely would have gotten out of there.
Yeah, just getting the targets and not taking the front door and staying within the offense.
Onside kick and an easy recovery for Louisville. They'll have the ball at the 30-yard line just down at one time. Go ahead and finish your point there, Luke.
No, I was just, I just think the maturation process of now Bobby Petrino trusting that, you know what, if it's not perfect, before the play even starts, I'm saying, if it's not perfect, oh, you know what, we got to get out of this protection, make sure we're out of a bad play into a good play. I don't think they could have done that. They trust him to get them right on offense, and that takes your offense to another level because it opens up the playbook. And I'll say another thing about this Louisville team. You open the season virtually on the road, essentially, versus 2 Power 5 opponents before you get to play a home game. Good for Louisville, man. That's not easy for anybody.
And your first home game is against the team that's the defending national champs in Clemson. The Tigers have a big one tonight against Auburn. Louisville wins this one 47-35. Lamar Jackson with 393 passing yards, 132 rushing yards, 3 passing touchdowns and 3 touchdowns on the ground. And the South Florida native obviously dealing with the hurricane. His mom was hoping to get here for the game today, trying to evacuate Florida, so many people are. 47-35, Lamar Jackson and Louisville win. Coach Petrino with Tom.
Well, Coach, it was a dogfight on the road. Maybe a little more suspense than you had hoped. How do you feel your team responded when things maybe weren't going your way throughout the day?
Good. I like our team. I thought they had great poise at halftime. We told them we had to come out in the second half and compete. You know, they made a run at us. They came back, got it close, and our offense responded, went right down and scored. So I'm really happy.
As a run game team, you went into halftime saying we got to run the football better, particularly in the red area. You think you accomplished that in the second half?
Yeah, not as well as I'd like to, but we certainly got better at it. And, you know, our running backs, I thought, did a much better job. It was great to see Malik Williams make a big play, but it was well blocked, too, so that's a good thing.
Big one next week versus Clemson. Finally get to go home. How's that going to feel?
Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be great.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Bobby Petrino and the Louisville Cardinals knock off North Carolina to improve to 2-0. College football scoreboard is up next. Presented by Honda. For Greg McElroy, Tom Luganville, our entire crew, I'm Dave Pasch. So long from Chapel Hill. It was the Lamar Jackson show again for the Louisville Cardinals.